Assalamu alaikum students, I'm Farzana Khan, lecturer in English language at University of South Asia. Today I'm here with very interesting and very important topic, oral presentation skills, which are very important for your academic and for your career success. By the end of today's lecture, you will be able to understand the importance of presentation skills. You will be able to consider ways of grabbing the listener's attention, holding their interest, and concluding strongly. You will be able to use body language and tone of voice appropriately during the oral presentation. And finally, you will be able to deliver a well-prepared and effective presentation in front of the audience. Here is the table of content. First of all, we will discuss about the importance of presentation skills. After that, we will move towards the steps for preparing effective oral presentation, strategies for effective oral delivery, and strategies for effective non-verbal delivery. When we talk about oral presentation, this is basically a way of sharing your ideas and information in front of others. So you need to make your presentation skills effective. It is the best platforms where non-verbal cues are combined with the verbal cues, adding a broader aspect to your communication skills. Oral presentation basically provides you an opportunity to present your thoughts and views confidently in front of the audience. So for making your oral presentation effective, it's very important to understand certain important presentation strategies and to employ those strategies for making your oral presentation effective. When we talk about presentation skills, these can be defined as a set of abilities that enable an individual to interact with the audience, transmit the message with clarity, engage the audience in the presentation, interpret and understand the mindsets of the listeners. So you will learn all these skills in this lecture. When we talk about the importance of presentation skills, so we can say presentation skills are vital for academic and for career success. You need presentation skills for convincing your clients and customers. Different companies and organizations usually arrange seminars and conferences. At that time, you need effective presentation skills. So to enhance your learning and employability prospects in future, you need to improve effective presentation skills. When we talk about the presentation skills, the first very important step is the preparation of effective presentations. So we will talk about the preparation of effective oral presentation first. For the preparation of effective oral presentation, you need to follow these 7 steps. First of all, you need to define the purpose. After that, you need to analyze the audience and occasion, and then you need to select the main ideas for the message. After that, you need to research the topic, and then you need to organize the data. After that, create visual aids, and finally rehearse your talk. So we will discuss these steps of preparing effective oral presentation one by one. The first step for preparing effective oral presentation is to define the purpose. It is to determine the purpose, because whenever we talk with a specific purpose. So what is the purpose behind your presentation? It can be to inform or instruct your audience. It can be to persuade the audience, and it can be to entertain the audience. So you need to define your purpose, whether you are going to inform your audience, whether you are going to persuade your audience, or you are going to entertain your audience. So after the first step, after defining the purpose of your presentation, the next step is to analyze the audience and occasion. It is very important that whenever you are going to present any topic in front of the audience, you need to understand your audience, that which type of audience you are going to face in your oral delivery of presentation. You need to understand the mindset of your audience. You need to understand the educational level of your audience. You need to understand the background knowledge of your audience. These will be very helpful for you for preparing effective oral presentation. For instance, the presentation which you are preparing for an organization would be totally different from the presentation which you are preparing for the public. The vocabulary, the language, the material, each and everything you will select keeping in mind your audience. So along with the audience, you need to analyze occasion as well. Understanding the occasion and audience makes it easier to get your message across. So you need to understand, you need to analyze your occasion. It will be very helpful for you for the preparation of your presentation, and you will add relevant material according to the occasion. The next step for preparing effective oral presentation is to select the main ideas for message. Here you have defined your purpose, you have analyzed your audience. So the next step is to select the main ideas for your message. Selection of main ideas basically will give you a proper direction for the further steps. You must be able to summarize your speech in one or few phrases if asked to do so. After the selection of main ideas, the next step for preparing effective oral presentation is to research the topic. Here you will collect the facts, data, information which are relevant and updated. You can further add main ideas. You can skip some ideas if you feel these are unnecessary in your presentation. So at this step, you will research the main ideas and the topic which you are going to present. So the next step for preparing oral presentation is to organize the data. It is the organization of the data. Here you will organize the data, because this step is very important, because if your data is organized, then your presentation will be organized. According to Aristotle, basically there are three parts of every speech, every text, every message. It must have a proper beginning, proper middle, and proper end. So you need to organize your data keeping in mind a proper introduction, a proper body, and a proper conclusion. So how you need to organize your introduction, body, and conclusion, we will discuss it one by one. First of all, introduction. Organization of an introduction is very important, because the purpose of introduction is to grab the attention of your audience. Introduction is meant to audience attention, aim or purpose of presentation, and layout of the presentation. So you need to make your introduction very effective and very impressive. For making your introduction very effective, you need to follow the three elements, which are called PAL. Here P stand for porch, A stand for aim, and L stand for the layout. When we talk about the porch, these are the opening remarks or preface of the speech. For attracting the attention of the audience, you can start with a quote, you can start with a question, you can start with a startling statement. Similarly, you can start with a humorous story depending on the nature of topic of your presentation. After the porch, the next element is aim. It is the topic of the talk, why you are giving the talk, your intention in giving the talk. Here you will tell your purpose to your audience, that why are you presenting these ideas in front of them. After that, you will move towards the layout. Layout, it is basically the agenda during your talk, the main topics to be discussed by number. In other words, we can say that the layout is the table of content of your presentation, all those points which you will discuss during your presentation one by one, and you need to tell all those points in the very start, in the introduction of your presentation, to make clear in front of your audience that you will discuss these points in this topic. So for making your introduction very attention grabber and very interesting, you need to follow the rule of Paul, Means you need to make a proper strong pose, aim and layout. The purpose of introduction is to grab the attention of the audience, and the purpose of body is to maintain the attention of the audience. For maintaining attention of the audience, you need to be very careful for organizing the data of your body. The body is the heart of your talk. Here you explain and support the main purpose of your presentation. Here you include evidence, data for your central theme. So the body of your presentation is similar to developing the text or discussion of a major paper. You need to be very careful while organizing the body of your presentation. You also need to keep in your mind the time constraints, because you need to be very clear that how much time you will be given during your presentation and how much points you need to elaborate within the given time. So the body of presentation is very important for maintaining the interest of the audience. For this purpose, you need to be very careful, and you need to make your body of presentation very effective by following these rules. After the body, you need to organize the data for the conclusion, for the summary of your talk. A summary reminds the audience of the main idea covered in the body of the talk. Here you need to conclude your points. Here you need to tell your audience that what you have discussed in your presentation. So it should be very interesting, it should be very effective and very impressive. As the purpose of the introduction is to grab the attention, so the purpose of the conclusion is to leave a lasting impression on the audience. So you need to be very careful about the conclusion. It should be very smooth, and you need to summarize all the points in the conclusion of your presentation. So it was all about the organization of your data. After the organization of your data, the next step in the preparation of effective oral presentation is to create visual aids. You know very well the importance of non-verbal communication. If you are going to add different words in your slides, then you need to add visual aids. You need to add relevant images in your slides. Some presentations do not require visuals. On the other hand, it would be odd not to include a visual when speaking about the structure of an organization. So you need to add visual aids which are relevant, and you need to be very careful about adding visual aids, because the visual aids will maintain the interest of the audience during your presentation. The last step in the preparation of effective oral presentation is to rehearse the talk. So the question arises that you have prepared the data very well, then why do you need to go for the rehearsal? Rehearsal has many advantages, as the practice makes a man perfect. So specifically, there are two major purposes of rehearsal. You will become more comfortable after rehearsal. It will boost up your confidence level that you can present your data in front of the audience very effectively and very clearly. Next is that you can revise where necessary. During rehearsal, it will be very clear to you that these points you need to revise and these points you need to improve. So it's very important to go for the rehearsal before presenting in front of the audience. Experts recommended 3 times rehearsal, but again it depends on your ability. Some people think that 1 time rehearsal is enough. For other persons, 2 time rehearsal is enough, and some people go for 3 times rehearsal. But you need to avoid too much rehearsal, because too much rehearsal lead to monotone style and your statements sound memorized. So you need to go for rehearsal but avoid too much rehearsal. Here are some tips for improving your rehearsal, from improving your presentation skills. So during rehearsal, you need to imagine that your audience is in front of you. If you don't have audience, then you can request your family members, you can request your friends to sit in front of you as your audience. It will give you an image that your audience is in front of you, and then you will do rehearsal comfortably and you will present in front of the audience effectively. You need to avoid long sentences and unusual words. Always go for your own language. Never try to follow certain long sentences, because you can forget those long sentences during the oral delivery and it will lead to embarrassment. Along with this, you need to be very careful about the use of vocabulary, about the use of words. You need to avoid unusual words about which you are not very clear, because sometimes it can happen that you can forget those words in front of the audience. The next tip for improving your rehearsal, for making your delivery effective, you need to take each of the main points one at a time and learn to present each with its supporting material. After that, move towards the next point, give all the supporting detail, and then move towards the next point. In this way, it will be very clear in your mind that you will present one by one and you won't forget your point in front of the audience. You need to anticipate questions in front of the audience. Jot down those questions and then think about the answers of those questions, because questions can be asked at the end of the presentation, and all the concepts which you are presenting in front of the audience must be very clear in your mind. Next tip is that you need to stand in front of the audience and deliver your talk out aloud. Next tip for a rehearsal is that you need to manage time. You must be very clear that you will be given 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes or 1 hour for your delivery of presentation, so you need to manage your time. Rehearsal will make it clear for you that you are crossing the time limit, or you are appropriately meeting the time limit. If you are crossing the time limit, then you need to cut your speech and again revise your speech. Last tip for rehearsal is that you need to use transitional phrases, because it reveals a coherence in your speech. Transitional phrases you can use such as first, second, now I'll move on to the next topic, lastly, in the end, etc. It was all about the preparation of effective presentation. Now we will move towards the delivery and the non-verbal delivery of your presentation. It's not just what you say, but how you say it matters a lot. For effective oral delivery, first of all, you need to be very careful about the pitch of voice. Pitch of voice is called the highness and the lowness of your voice. Your pitch should be very effective during your delivery. As strong declarative sentences end with downward pitch, questions and suggestions usually end on higher pitch. So you need to be very clear about these rules of the pitch. And during your oral delivery, you need to avoid the monotone style, which means same pitch throughout the speech, which can be irritating to the listeners. So you need to be very careful about the pitch of your voice during your oral delivery of presentation. The next step for your oral delivery of presentation is to be very careful about the rate of words. The rate of words delivered per minute should range between 80 to 60 minutes. If you are uttering less than 80 words in a minute, it means you are a slow speaker and you need to improve, you need to increase your fluency. If you are uttering more than 160 words in a minute, it means you are over fluent person and you need to decrease your fluency. And during rehearsals, you can understand whether you are speaking the words, you are uttering the word between 80 to 160 words or not. The next point about your effective oral delivery is that you need to give pauses between words and sentences, because these are very important. One important point here is that you need to avoid too much pauses and long pauses during your delivery, because too much pauses give impression to other persons that you don't have vocabulary, or you are forgetting certain points and you are thinking a lot. So you need to be very careful about giving pauses and about the rate of words you are uttering in a minute. Along with the rate of words, the volume of your speech also plays a very important role during your oral delivery of presentation. Some people have naturally loud voice, others have low voice. But one must regulate the volume of speech according to the size of the audience. You can increase your volume, you can decrease your volume according to the importance of words. For giving emphasis, definitely you need to increase your volume. But when we talk about your voice during the delivery, you need to maintain the volume according to the size of the audience for making your presentation effective. Along with volume, pronunciation is most important aspect, is most important part of your oral delivery. It is an important part of oral delivery in the professional world. Correct pronunciation is necessary. If you are pronouncing the words wrong, it will lead to embarrassment. So you need to improve your pronunciation by listening to well-educated and cultured people. You can use dictionary to improve your pronunciation. Along with this, I'll suggest you about the jargons, technical terms and abbreviations that you need to be very careful about the use of jargons, technical terms and abbreviations. For this purpose, you need to analyze your audience, that whether your audience will be able to understand the technical terms, jargons and abbreviations or not. If you are clear that your audience will not be able to understand, then you need to avoid. But still, if there is need to use certain jargons, technical terms or abbreviations, then first you need to elaborate those technical terms and abbreviations before talking. Alright, if you are giving oral presentation, definitely it will be your formal presentation because you prepared well for that presentation. So you need to use formal language during the delivery of your presentation. You need to avoid informal language like gonna or wanna for going to or want to. So you need to be very careful about the pronunciation, about the use of jargons, technical terms and about the use of formal language during your oral delivery of presentation for making your presentation effective. It was about the delivery, and now the next section, the next step for improving your presentation skills is effective non-verbal delivery. It's very clear to all of you that non-verbal communication plays a vital role in making your communication effective. More than 60 to 90% effect comes from the non-verbal delivery. According to the experts, the 7% effect comes from your spoken words, 38% effect comes from your voice and your tone, and 55% effect comes from your body language, that how you are using your body, how you are using your facial expression during the delivery of your talk. So here I'll tell you about the movement, posture, gestures, facial expressions and appearance. First of all, movement during the delivery of presentation. Movement is meant for the purpose of holding audience attention, getting rid of nervousness, suggesting transitions, and increasing emphasis. During the presentation, you can occasionally move back and forth, but you need to avoid too much movement because too much movement gives impression to your audience that you are getting confused. So you need to be very careful about the movement during the delivery of presentation. After movement, the next step in the non-verbal delivery is the posture. Your sitting and standing posture matters a lot. It gives an impression to your audience whether you are confident or you are confused. Straightness of the back is essential for a good impression whether you sit or stand. If you are standing straight with erect posture, then it will give impression to your audience that you are confident, you have high energy and high spirit. You can see in the images that the straight posture or straight erect posture is the appropriate posture for standing in the presentation. Similarly, if you are sitting, your erect straight posture will make your delivery effective. And during your presentation, you can interpret the sitting posture of your audience, because the sitting posture of your audience gives you a feedback in the form of whether they are willing to listen to you or not, whether they are taking interest in your communication or not. Here you can see which of these is okay for presentation. So there are different posture. You can see the erect straight posture is the best posture for a presenter. When we talk about the use of gestures during the delivery of presentation, so it's very important. The movements of hands, arms, shoulders and head are termed as gestures. So you need to be very careful about the use of gestures for making your oral delivery effective. But avoid too much use of gestures, because sometimes it seems awkward and sometimes it reveals your nervousness. When we talk about the facial expression, so your face reveals whatever you are thinking, whatever is in your mind. So your facial expressions must match your content. When you are uttering certain points and your facial expressions are not matching with your words, then people will believe more on your facial expressions than on your words. So you need to match your facial expressions with your talk. You need to give smile, and you also need to maintain eye contact with the audience to give an impression that you are confident and very clear about your concepts and about your points. You also pay attention to the audience facial expressions. The facial expressions of audience can tell you whether they are listening to you or not, whether they are taking interest in your communication or not. For improving facial expressions, it's very important to practice in front of mirror. The last point in your delivery of presentation is appearance. Appearance matters a lot in professional environment. You need to be very careful about your dressing when you are going for oral delivery, oral presentation. So you need to dress up yourself according to the topic, according to your profession and according to the occasion, because it will leave a lasting impression on the audience. It will give a non-verbal message to your audience that how well professional and how well dressed you are. So in today's lecture, basically you learned about the importance of oral presentation, how to prepare effective oral presentation. You have learned how to effectively deliver your presentation in front of the audience, and you came to know that how to effectively deliver the non-verbal communication, how to effectively use non-verbal cues in your oral presentation for making your presentation effective. I hope it will be very helpful for you. So make your presentation skills effective and improve yourself and be successful in your professional life.
For more details, 0311 711 1112.